Hello, programming languages students. Today, this is the first video in a series about Prolog topics. And so I want to talk about, just get a basic intro about what Prolog is, the very basic operation, and then also the way that we will end up using Prolog here. So to start with, we need an IDE, a way to type and test Prolog code. So we're going to use an online IDE here. Before I dive into this, it's very important. As we go through this IDE, it's very important to download and save your work. Every semester that I teach this, I have at least one student who has a problem where they think all their work's fine, they close their window, they come back, they lose it. So be sure that your save here is actually downloading the file and making sure you have it on your computer. So I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. All right, so we're going to pop in. The browser we're going to use, the compiler we're going to use is swish.swi-prolog.org. So when you type it in, we should end up with a window like this. Prolog is used in a pretty unique way, so we'll talk about this window setup in a minute here. But what I'd like to do and what we're going to do is create a program. So we always want to start with just a program. Now as we type, again, I mentioned saving. Make sure you can hit File and Download. This is really your save button. I would not rely on the save button from Swish. I wouldn't rely on much other than downloading the file and making sure you have access to a hard copy of what you typed. So our program is going to be over here on the left. Um, so this is going to be our way of operation. This is what we're going to be looking at. So what does a Prolog program look like? And that's a good question because Prolog is very, like I said, very different from other languages you've used. At its core, Prolog starts with rules and facts in a database on the left, and then you have queries for your database down here in the window on the right. So we're going to start with defining a few facts. We're going to do a couple of really simple things. So we're going to define a predicate called woman, and we're going to define Mia as a woman. And then we're going to have woman, whoops, Jody, also a woman. We will make another woman called Yolanda. And you'll see that we have some good formatting here. We have a predicate highlighted here, and these are called atoms. They start with lowercase letters. These are basically facts. So we're also going to have a predicate called plays air guitar, Jody, and we'll define another fact called party. That doesn't have anything in parentheses. So this is just a fact, party. It's time to party, so we're gonna party here. So this is a very, very simple Prolog database. This is how you can create a simple Prolog program. And this doesn't do anything, this just defines facts. What we need to do is have some queries so that we can test our database. This is the basic usage of Prolog. This is what we do. So to start, we can check if Mia is a woman. Now, you can hit the run button in the bottom right here. It may be cut off on my screen actually, but there's a run button on the bottom right. Or if you hit Control Enter, which is what I like to do, then it will run. And so it worked for a second and it returned true. That's because we have defined Mia as a woman. We've also defined Jody as a woman, so we could verify that that's true. And we could verify that Yolanda is a woman. We could verify that plays air guitar, Jody. That's true. And then our fact here that we wrote is also true. So things we've written in our database here show up as true. Well, that's first of all pretty boring, right? I mean, you just wrote some stuff and then typed it again. What's the point of this? Well, to start with, there's a couple interesting things that I want to point out. We'll dive into what else. You can do some very interesting things with Prolog, and we'll talk about how it works. But to start with, this is the really, really basic usage. We could check if Mia is a man, and it says man does not exist. So we haven't defined what man is or what man means. You'll notice a capital A in here. This will have a little more significance as we go along. We could check if plays air guitar, Jody. Oh, we already checked Jody. Jody does. Let's try Mia. So we didn't define Mia as playing air guitar, but we did define Jody as playing air guitar. So if we check this, we get a false. That we've defined plays air guitar, and we've defined that Jody plays air guitar, but Mia does not. We didn't define that, so this is now a false statement. So this is the basic operation of Prolog. This is also a really basic database, a really basic way of making queries. A couple really quick highlights before I'm done with this video. Note that everything in Prolog ends with a period. It's like a semicolon in Java. And then when you put in queries, you should end them with a period. And then again, Control Enter or the Run button on the bottom right that I don't think you can see on my screen, but that exists there, um, will get you where you need to go. So hopefully that makes sense, and we'll dive into a little bit more about what we can do and what fun things we can do with Prolog, because I promise you it gets a lot more interesting than this.